Another day, another tech world problem. Lately, the tech world has been scrambling to stay afloat, and this time is no different. Apple and Google have been facing problems with their face gaming and mobile browser probe, and it got to a point where things got so bad that violent protests started happening right outside Apple's main iPhone plant in China. To know the whole story and more details, keep watching. Starting with Apple and Google's problems with face gaming and mobile browser. In 2021, a market study by the Competition and Markets Authority, or CMA, concluded that they had a stranglehold over mobile web browsers and operating systems. It was said that if the 18-month investigation finds an adverse effect on competition, the CMA can change the way they want. Apple and Google were found to have problems that didn't align with the CMA's criteria, which is why they wanted to impose changes. However, both companies denied the accusations. The interim chief executive of the CMA, Sarah Cardell, stated that she wanted to ensure the people of the United Kingdom would receive the best new mobile data services and that the developers can invest in innovative new apps. Cardell said that UK businesses and web developers feel they are being held back by restrictions set by both Google and Apple. Up next, Apple and Google get investigated by the UK competition body. In June last year, the UK competition body confirmed that they were looking into Apple and Google over their dominant position in the phone industry. They stated that they were investigating the effect of duopoly both firms have, which includes operating systems Android iOS, app stores, Chrome, and Safari web browsers. It was also reported that the officials were examining if the pair stifled competition across various digital markets. According to the authority figures, the CMA was concerned that this could lead to the reduced innovation across the sector and would have to make customers pay for higher prices for devices and apps or even other goods or services, since they would have to increase their advertising prices. According to Google, its Android ecosystem generates $2.8 billion in revenue for UK developers and supports 240,000 jobs. They also stated that they made major changes to its terms based on discussions with regulators. Moving forward, the CMA's claims about Google and Apple. CMA chief executive Andrea Cuscelli took to Twitter to announce that Apple and Google controlled the major gateways through which people downloaded apps or browsed the web on their mobiles, including playing games, streaming music, shopping, or even watching TV. Cuscelli further stated that they were trying to figure out if this was creating problems for consumers and businesses that wanted to reach people through their phones. A spokeswoman from Google stated that the company welcomed the CMA's efforts to understand their side before they started implementing new rules. She further explained that Android gives people more choices than other mobile platforms in deciding which apps they use. She also stated that this enables thousands of developers and manufacturers to build successful businesses. During this time, Apple was also under investigation by the CMA over its App Store, while Google was being investigated for its proposed new privacy system. The authorities said that while both these topics were within the scope of the new investigation, it could also get much broader. Next up, Apple investigated app claims. Apple's battle with Epic Games was perhaps the major instigator that got them in trouble with the CMA in the first place. It was revealed that developers were unhappy that they were being forced to distribute apps to iPhones and iPads via the App Store, which gave Apple a commission. Apple replied, saying that their terms were fair and equal. It was reported that the investigation would consider whether Apple had a dominant position in the distribution of apps on its devices and consider whether it imposes unfair terms on its developers. They stated that they believe in thriving and competitive markets where great ideas grow and that the App Store has been an engine of success for app developers, and it would be a shame for anything to happen to it. Now, let's look at the investigation of Google Chrome. The CMA reported that Google's plan could also impact news websites and the digital advertising market. However, many people were already raising their concerns that the publisher's profit could sink if they couldn't run personalized ads, to which Google responded that digital advertising had to evolve for that to happen. It was revealed that by default, Safari and Mozilla Firefox's browsers block cross-site cookies, but Google ends up supporting all cookies except first-party ones, and uses the ones used by sites to track activity within their pages. They revealed that they want to replace these cookies with new tools that give advertisers more anonymous information but do not tie this information to individual users. Coming up, what did Apple and Google have to say in response? In response to these claims, Google had to say that it has an Android operating system offering a greater greater choice of apps and App Store than any other mobile platform. The multinational technology company explained that this enables developers to choose the browser engine they want and has also been the launchpad for millions of other apps. Apple also released a statement saying that they believe in competitive markets where innovation can thrive and that the App Store has helped millions of developers turn their ideas into apps. This, in turn, has supported hundreds of thousands of jobs in the UK alone. The firm confirmed that it would continue to stay in contact with the CMA to explain its approach, which promotes competition and choice while ensuring the privacy of its consumers. Moving on, violent protests erupt at Apple's main iPhone plant. It was reported that hundreds of Apple Incorporated workers were seen protesting outside the firm's main iPhone-making plant in China that clashed with security personnel. This comes after tough restrictions were put in to minimize a COVID outbreak, leading to high tension among the workers. Workers at the Foxconn Technology Group plant were seen rushing out of dormitories early on November 23rd. Employees ran and pushed past the white-suited guards in a video posted online. Another video showed guards pummeling a person lying on the ground with sticks, while others shouted, "Fight! Fight!" as other people forced their way past barricades. Another video showed people surrounding an occupied police car, forcefully rocking the car and shouting. Next up, more details about the protest. It was reported that the protest began over unpaid wages and fears about the spread of COVID. The protest allegedly started late at night, and several workers were injured after the anti-riot police arrived to restore order. In another video, some angry workers were seen surrounding an angry but quiet manager in a conference room to voice their grievances and discuss the COVID test results. A male worker voiced his concerns that he was scared of the place since everyone around here could be COVID positive and that the company avoided answering them for this reason. One person even said, "You are sending us to death." Coming up, how did this incident take place? This incident isn't random. It comes after tensions built up since the lockdown began in October. It was reported that around 200,000 workers at iPhone City were forced into isolation and given a small amount of food and medication to survive. Many employees eventually fled the place on foot last month, but over time, the government and Foxconn were able to get the situation under control. They promised the workers high wages and better working conditions, but that was all talk, as they didn't follow through with any of that. Talking about the situation, Barry Noten, a professor at the University of California, San Diego, stated that this was a big mess, further stating that the government had created a situation where the usual decision makers were under huge pressure. It was also reported that the Chinese currency had been underperforming than other Asian FX peers because of these protests, but that did not stop Apple from imposing stricter rules and regulations. Wrapping it up, what does this mean for Apple Incorporated? This situation reminds Apple that relying on a vast production machine, mainly centered in China at such unprecedented times, can be a major loss to them. Changzhou is the company's most critical production place, producing an estimated 4 in 5 of its latest generation handsets and the vast majority of the highest-end iPhone 14 Pro units. Apple did warn its customers that this month's shipments of its new iPhone models would be lower than expected, which is unusual for their peak holiday season shopping. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Apple and Google's problems with mobile browser probes? What do you think about the violent protests outside the iPhone making plant? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.